Howdy everyone, this is Trisha and I am back with another recipe. Tonight I will be making Chiles Rellenos, which is a Mexican stuffed pepper. And the pepper that I will be using will be a Poblano pepper, which is the ideal pepper for this type of dish to make it more authentic. You can use bell peppers or like, what is another big, like an ancho chili, I guess? Something big like this. But this is really the chile that you should use. It's a Poblano. Don't be afraid of it. Grab a couple just to try them out to start with. They are a little bit of a bite into them. And of course, compared to a bell pepper, the bell pepper with just this little sweetness. So if you want to just avoid the bite, then go ahead and use a bell pepper. So anyway, these are Poblano peppers, and I'm using today 2 of them. I will need 2 eggs. I need 1 for each pepper. So if I had 3 peppers, I would use 3 eggs. 10 peppers, I would use 10 eggs. And I'm using, these are extra large. Now, yes, if you were going to make maybe 10 or so, maybe you could get away with just using 8 of them if you're using some large or extra large eggs. You know, it really depends. So you could just kind of eyeball things. And this is some salt that I'm going to sprinkle in there, and I'm going to need some flour. And I'm going to stuff them with some oaxaca, queso oaxaca, right here. Queso, Lachona Queso Oaxaca. Well, you can use any brand, but this is Lachona brand, I guess. Queso Oaxaca. And then you can see right there how that is spelled, O-A-X-A-C-A. I've used this kind of cheese before to make enchiladas. I love it. You can use like a queso fresco, or you could use like mozzarella if you want. You can use a Monterey Jack. But I want to make it a little bit more authentic, so I'm actually using a Mexican cheese, which is a Oaxaca cheese. And the first thing that I need to do is I need to roast these peppers because they have the skin on them. And yes, you could just eat them with that skin on there, and but then it would be kind of tough. So what I want to do is I want to roast them in a little pan on the stove, and kind of burn off the outer layer skin that's on here. And not only that, but it'll also soften the pepper, the actual pepper itself, because they're very stiff and that's not fun to chew through. Now, if all you want is the flavor that's inside, that the pepper gives to whatever you put inside, because you could stuff them with a meat, you could stuff them with a shredded chicken, you could stuff them with a ground beef, a very fine ground beef, even a picadillo, which is ground beef with potatoes. You can stuff them with that, and if you really just want the flavor of the pepper to permeate the meat, then you don't have to go through all these steps of roasting this. Now, you could roast them in your broiler, in your oven, or on the stovetop. I'm going to do them on the stovetop, and I will show you that in a minute. All right, I'm back, and I've got a hot pan here on my stove, and I'm going to put the peppers in there, and just listen. Here's a little bit of popping. Okay, that's just the skin. I'm going to put the other one next to it. Okay, this is going to take a little while, so you want to watch your chiles, and you want to be turning them as you go along. And it's not ready yet, but I'm just going to turn it over for you for now. This is what you want to do. And see that little bit of scalding there on there? You want that to happen all over the chile. Some of it will be a black tone, and that's okay. So you're just going to keep them on here. You're going to keep an eye on them as you go along. It is a task to make chiles rellenos, but they are so worth it. So I'm just making 2 for now, and I'm going to continue standing here watching them and turning them as I go along, and I will be back. Okay, I wanted to show you the progress. It has been about 7 minutes or so, and you can see the skin blistering and kind of toasting and burning on there. And that's what I want, and it needs a little bit more. You kind of want to get as much of it as you can. Now, when you pick your Poblano peppers, try to find some that are as flat as possible, because look at this one. It's got like a little indentation there, and that's really hard to get that up against the pan to get it to toast and do this little burning on the skin, or whatever you want to call it, blistering. Okay, so we're going to continue doing this. It's been about 7 minutes, and I'll keep you posted. All right, it's been 10 minutes, and poblano peppers are pretty much toasted on all the sides. I went ahead and I turned off the heat already. And it's approximately 10 minutes, like I said. And I am now going to put them in a plastic bag to sweat. I'm going to transfer them to a plate. Take them over here, and I've got a plastic bag, and I'm going to place them in the plastic bag. Excuse, I can't do this with just one hand. So I'm going to put them in the plastic bag, and I'm just going to leave them in there while I prepare my egg batter. And what they will do in there is they will sweat inside the bag. Once my egg batter is prepared, I can then, oh goodness gracious, get in there. Once they've sweat, I can peel that outer layer of skin off of them. But for now, I'm just going to leave them alone, let them sweat, and I'll be back and show you how to make the batter. All right, I'm back, and now I'm going to do the egg batter that I'm going to coat my chiles with. So I'm going to take 2 egg whites. So I need to crack those into my bowl. As a matter of fact, I'm going to remove it because this is sort of in my way, and I don't want to make a mess. Okay. Crack them, and just the egg whites. And I'm going to do it in my fingers because that's always the best way to do it. Oops, don't let that drop. Get that over here. We're going to need the egg yolks, and I just threw them where the shell is, so oops. Okay, there we go. Throw my eggshells somewhere else. All right. Let me get this shell out of here. It's not broken, too bad, so I'm not going to get any egg yolk on anything. Okay, so the egg yolks, I'm going to save them in a little separate bowl. And my egg whites are now in here, and what I'm going to do is I am going to whip them till they're nice and fluffy. Again, you don't have to use a stand mixer. I'm only using it because, well, it's brand new and I like it and I would just want to use it, and it's got a nice little attachment. But you can use a hand mixer, and that's probably the best thing to do. I'm only doing 2 eggs. There's no sense in getting all this machinery out. But just use a hand blender, whip them up. It'll take a little while. Let's get this going. It's going to take a while to fluff up and get all nice and white. So I'm going to just, let me show you what's going on in there right now. There. Okay, so I'm going to continue doing that, and I will be back and show you what happens next. All right, I'm back, and there's my egg whites, and they've gotten as fluffy as they can be because, again, it's only 2 eggs, so I don't expect them to get any higher than that. And I'm going to slowly add the egg yolks now. Let that get mixed in. And that will become a very nice little batter. And what you want to add to this is just a sprinkle of some salt, a little pinch of salt. And since it's only 2 eggs, just a little sprinkle or a pinch. All right, I'm going to continue get this all nice and blended well together and fold it in. And then I will be back and I will peel the peppers for you. And I've got my chiles that were in my plastic bag, all steamed in there. Pull it out, and it smells really good. And now this skin that's on here will now just peel right off. Look at that. Peels right off. You could use a little, like a little paring knife. Let me get the other one out of the bag so I can throw the skin that I'm peeling off in my bag. You could use a little paring knife, as I was saying, to help you peel that off. But it comes off pretty good. I mean, if you leave them in that bag to steam and let that work, and you can remove all this skin fairly easily and try to get it all off of there. All of it. Okay? Especially all them little burned parts. You don't want those. Okay, I'm now going to do the other chile, and I will be back and show you how to stuff these and continue the process. All right, I got my chiles all nice and peeled, and as you see, they're flat because they're no longer all stiff and hard. They've been cooked and steamed, so that helped to soften them up. Now I'm just going to make here's a nice place to make a cut because it's already kind of cut. I'm just going to make a small slip cut like that. I'm going to try not to open them too much, but it's okay if they do. And what you want to do is you want to remove the little veiny bit inside, and as much of the seeds as you can. If you don't mind the seeds, leave them in there. It's no big deal. Just remove as many as you can. The seeds are really where the heat is, so that's why we're removing them, because we don't want them to be that hot. Okay. I personally don't mind it, but I'm doing this to show you. Besides, I don't want all the little veins inside, these little bits. Okay, so there we go. That's one. Now I'm going to do the other one, and you would continue doing all of them depending on how many you have decided to make. Okay, I've gone ahead and I rinsed off the peppers just a little bit because I didn't want to remove as much as the seeds as I could, and just to show you that you can do that. There's a little bit of vein right here. I just want to remove that. Didn't get that one. Anyway, and also to make sure that I got off any little pieces of skin off of it that were still there. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to get my cheese. And my Oaxaca cheese already comes in these big kind of bits, so you can just cut them. And it's kind of a stringy kind of a cheese, as you can see. But I'm not going to string them. I'm just going to leave them like that. And I'm going to get a big piece just like that and put it inside of my pepper. Take another one for my other pepper and well, let me put it this way because that part is thicker. Okay, so put it in there. Now what you would want to do, I'm going to cut the little tip off and stuff it up here a little bit and stuff it up here. What you'd want to do is you kind of want to fold over the pepper on itself, and then you would poke a toothpick through it to hold it. Same with the other one. And you can put as much cheese in there as you want. This is kind of my main meal, so I'm going to add just a tiny bit more, just because I love it. Okay. All right. I don't want clogged arteries, so let's just do that. And then what you'll do is you'll take them, and I've got some flour in a little bowl, and it just depends on how many chiles you have. You're going to take these and you're going to coat them in the flour, and make sure you get them nice and coated on all the sides. Make sure you put that little toothpick on there. I don't have any toothpicks, so I'm doing this. So here we go. I've coated it. I don't want any of that to come off on this moist plate, so I'm just going to put it there on that same one. Let's get it on here. And the reason for the flour is so that the egg batter will have something to stick to. Okay, so now these are ready. They've been covered with flour, and now I'm going to take them and put them in the egg batter and coat them, and then I'm going to fry them. All right, so I've got some vegetable oil all nice and heated up in a pan here. I'm going to lower my temp to kind of a medium heat, not too low, not too high. This has been heating up, and the oil is ready. I've got my egg batter ready, and I've got my chiles ready. Now, because I don't have a toothpick on them, this is going to be kind of tricky, and I'm using one hand, so bear with me. We are going to dip them in the batter. Now, you won't be as messy as I am, of course. You'll do this a lot nicer. But because I'm using one hand, this is the way it's happening. The idea is to grab it from the stem here and just dip it and have that coat, but that's not happening, so we're doing it this way. And just to show you that you can still make these. Okay, so I've got the seam part down, got my oil, very carefully slide it in because you don't want to get that oil on your hands. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to get the other one in there, and I'll be back. All right, I've got my first chile in there. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take some of the oil and kind of sprinkle it on the top here. The bottom is already nice and golden, and I've decided I'm doing one chile at a time because I don't want them cluttered in the small pan here, and then I won't be able to turn them. And the reason that I'm doing this is to kind of seal that egg, because I want to now flip it over. Push it over as much to that side as I can. Get my cones. And there we go. Try to grab it from the stem to turn it over. And now this side needs to fry up. And as you can see, it's got a really pretty golden color to that. And that's what you want the whole egg to become. Once that's done, I'll put the other one, and then I'll show you them on a finished plate. And here are the finished chiles. I've got them on a plate with a napkin to absorb the excess oil. And as you saw, I didn't put too much oil in my pan because I didn't want them to be all greasy. And besides, I was only making 2. So I just needed a little bit. I'm going to place one of them on my plate. It's not hot anymore. It's kind of cooled down a bit. Of course, if it was hot, I would use a utensil. Now we're going to cut into it so you can see the yumminess that is inside. The melting cheese. Look at that. So good and yummy. And now it is ready to plate. You can plate this with some rice and some beans on the side, maybe some salsa over it, sprinkle some more cheese, maybe some queso fresco on top. And let me know what you thought of my recipe. If you have a different idea of how to make the chiles rellenos or what you would stuff them with, please put your comments below. Please give me a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. I'd really appreciate that. And as always, enjoy.